Thank you very much, Jessica, for your kind. Thank you,
Thank
everyone,
you.
for joining today's
Let's welcome
session.
our speaker in the comment section. Very important.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And for those of you that are meeting for the first time, I would want to say you are welcome for joining our programs, and I hope that this will not be the last time. You continue to engage with us and to learn more in your quest to become financially independent. Knowledge is very important. The Bible says, "You shall know the truth shall set you free." If you learn the truth of financial knowledge, I think it will set you free from financial stress in your future years. The topic I have to speak to today is protect your money, secure your future. As humans, for anything that is valuable to us, for anything that we cherish, we try to protect it. And so during our childhood days, when your parents, whenever your parents bought you a toy that you cherish so much, usually when you are sleeping, you place it on your chest and try to grab it, protect it so much so that nobody can take it away from you. It is important that we also protect money. As young people that are starting to earn incomes, usually the perception is that our income generation capacity or how much we earn will continue to increase with time. And so we do not put so much value on the money we earn today. So we start national service, for instance. Let's say you come out of university, your transition to the working life usually starts with national service. And at that point, we think that the money we are taking is not enough. And so there is nothing significant we can do with it. If you had a different mindset, I think even right from your national service time, because for most of us, at that time, our parents even support us. So it is still possible to see a part of your national service allowance as a seed that could be planted towards financial independence in the future. From my personal experience, I saved a part of my national service allowance, and that is the seed I used to finance my master's education. And I was intentional about it. So while doing national service, I tried to, as much as possible, squeeze myself where necessary. I was staying with my uncle, so I could eat from home in the morning before leaving for school. And I took advantage of that so that I could avoid paying for breakfast and sometimes even lunch. And that was the money I saved to be able to finance my master's. So whatever money that comes to, even the stipends that you are receiving whilst on campus as university students, a part of it is supposed to be saved. And if you're able to do that, it helps you to start cultivating the habit of savings right from school. So you don't finish school, take your first job before thinking of savings. Savings is part of the attitudes, is part of the test that you are supposed to learn in your formative years, so that even by the time you come out of school, you already have that consciousness to be able to save. Why is it necessary to protect your money and to secure your future financially? For most of us as young people, financial security by age 35, 40 seems out of reach for us because of the financial decisions that we take in our early 20s. But if we consciously plan our financial future, it is possible for us to be financially independent by age 40, even by age 35. For some of us that are able to start earning incomes early in life, you can even become financially independent by age 30. Financial insecurity can be a serious source of stress. You can imagine in this current economic situation, let's assume you have a wife and kids and you have unstable income. The stress on you alone before day breaks, if you are not careful, it will take away so many years of your life. And if you're not careful because of financial stress, you will not live to see the number of days that God has given you. And so it's important that we intentionally plan our financial future to avoid financial stress, especially in our 40s and 50s, where our kids are growing, our kids are in school, we are paying fees and all that. If we don't plan in our 20s and 30s, we will be in a very serious financial stress, which can also affect the quality of relationships that we have with our significant others. And for men, The men here, I can tell you that even the quality of your marriage, the quality of relationship you will have with your wife, how romantic your marriage will be, to a large extent, will be dependent on how financially strong you are. Because all things being equal, no matter how much your spouse loves you, and it works in the other way around. If you are a lady, you also have something to bring to the table. Men traditionally are the breadwinners, but in these modern economies, I think women can also come to the table to support. So as a woman, you can also see your financial strength in your 30s and 40s as a key point of support for your family when it comes to giving your family that quality of life. And if you are strong enough financially, it even attracts your nieces, your family members. Everybody will be happy to come around you. But if you are poor, you are the type who is always calling people, asking for money. People will shy away from you. When people see your missed calls, they will never call you back because whenever they see your missed calls, only one thing comes to mind. This guy is coming to worry me about money. He's coming to borrow. He's coming to ask for money. If you become that type, you become a worrisome for people, and people will try to shy away from you. If you want to avoid that and build quality relationship with people, if you want your family members, your significant others, your friends to cherish you, please, it is important that you build a very formidable financial future. And it starts from now. The question is, how do you build that future? How do you build it? How do we go about it? To start with, steps to protecting your money and securing your financial future. First, avoid acquiring assets that behave like liabilities early in life. Avoid acquiring income leaking assets. When I speak of income leaking assets, I mean things that we perceive as assets that rather take away from us. For instance, when we came out of our master's in 2013, we got a part-time job with ISE, field data collection, and we made some significant amount of money. At the time, they were paying us more than 100 Ghana cedis a day for a 3-month contract. Some of my colleagues, right after that project, bought private cars. They saw that as assets. They got into a different league. They got into a lifestyle that they probably could not sustain because that was not a permanent job. It was a short-term job. So right after that job, we had to go onto the labor market hunting for a new job. But people acquired private cars because they wanted to jump into a new status or because they had gotten a sudden income. Such kind of asset becomes a leakage because now you have a private car, you have to buy fuel, you have to pay for maintenance, you will drive to places under normal circumstances you will not go. But now because you have cars, your colleagues, your friends will influence you to move to places. Now you can give people lifts. So you'll be attracting ladies who under normal circumstances will not come close to you. But because now you are driving as a young man, they will be attracted to you because they think you have something in your pocket. So if you start life that way, it becomes very difficult to build a financial future. And it becomes very difficult to build the kind of assets that you need to establish you financially. So myself, as an example, after that contract, I bought land in Accra. And right after that, I started building because once I had the land, I had the motivation to try and put everything I made, set something aside towards the building. But some of my colleagues bought private cars. Some rented 2-bedroom apartments. I continued to stay with my uncle despite all the inconveniences. I'll come home and pound fufu and all that. I had to sometimes sweep the hall and all that. Those are inconveniences I had to bear just so I could be able to secure my future financially. So while staying with my uncle, I started building my house. Like I told you, some bought cars, some rented chamber and hall self-contained at flashy areas, which made it impossible for them to take steps towards securing their future. Quite recently, one of my colleagues came to visit me in my house, and he was shocked. Paul, how have you been able to build this house? My house is a very simple house, not that flashy, not that big. But he was shocked and surprised because he knows that after school, I have not gotten any job that you can say pays so high, pays so much. I've not gotten one of the most outstanding job opportunities in the Ghanaian job market. But because I had that consciousness, because I avoided income leaking assets early in life, because I avoided buying a private car early in life, now I've been able to secure myself in a certain way. If you're a young man starting life, please, point one, towards securing your financial future, avoid acquiring income leaking assets early in life. Two, track your spending. It is important that you track your spending so you know where your money is going. I think one of our previous speakers made mention of that. For most young people, we do not plan our spending. So for any money that comes to us, we start spending, get to the end of the month, look back, and then try to identify where the money went. Sometimes we don't even know where the money is going. Things like taking Uber. I think most of our ladies have that habit. We want so much convenience. So even on campus, walking from Appiah-Konadu Hall to the lecture hall, we want to take Uber. Walking from Hila Leman Hall to the lecture hall, we want to take Uber. Coming back, we want to take Uber. If you are paying 10 cedis in, 10 cedis out, that is 20 cedis. So if you are going to lectures in a day, let's say 3 times, 10 in, 10 out, 20, 10 in, 10 out. So that is 60 Ghana every day. If you are going for lectures 5 days in a week, you can calculate how much that will be leaking from your stipends. Eating out. A lot of us, whilst on campus, we are, I don't want to say lazy, but we don't like cooking. We avoid cooking and we want to eat out a lot. Now a plate of, let's say, rice on average on campus, if you want to eat at a decent place, will cost you like 30, 40 Ghana. So if every day you are eating out, you can also calculate the implications of that on your budget. Instead of that, buy groceries and cook as much as possible. If you have fridge, prepare your stew, keep in your fridge. And if you're able to do that, you'll be able to manage a lot of expenses or avoid certain kind of expenses. Track your spending. From the beginning of the month, project how much you would spend on food, how much you spend on data, how much you spend on transportation. That will put the check on you. Now, if I speak to you how much a lot of young people are spending on data alone, you'll be surprised. I spoke to one young man quite recently, and he told me that on daily basis, he subscribes 10 cedis, MTN data. 10 cedis a day, that gives him about 500 megabytes. And even that is not enough. So 10 cedis a day times 30 on average, that is 300 Ghana every month on data alone, for credit aside. So 300 Ghana cedis every month on data times 12, that is 3,600. There is a way to cut that expenditure. If you don't have the money to buy your data in bulk, at least as much as possible, try to avoid certain social media platforms so you can save. From that 10 cedis, that young man is able to save you 5 cedis a day. That is 150 Ghana cedis a month, right? In a year, that is 1,800. You are spending 4 years on campus as a university student. That translates to 7,200 without interest. So if you add interest, by the time you finish school, you'd have accumulated over 10,000, with which you could start a small business to start life with, just in case you are not able to get that dream job that you are looking at. Track your spending. And then for some of us, I think we have that kind of heart that is not able to say no when people ask us for money, giving unnecessarily. There are some people that become parasites, some friends that are always asking, oh, Charlie, give me 20 cedis. I'll give it to you tomorrow. Tomorrow they will not give it to you. The next day they pretend as if nothing happened yesterday. Then they come again, oh, Charlie, give me 30 Ghana. I'll give it to you. They never bring it. So if you have 5 of such friends around you, and every one of them borrows 50 Ghana without paying back in a month, that is 250 Ghana cedis. And for some of us, we have such kind of friends around us who are parasites, who always borrow without the intention of giving back. And if you track your spending, you probably identify that giving to such people is probably costing you so much money that you could have invested to secure your future, even whilst on campus. And if you start work, there will be colleagues at work who will start showing those kind of signs. When you identify them, try to put them in that bracket and treat them as such. I'm not saying when somebody asks, do not give, but make sure that the person you are giving to is really in need and that he's not a habitual borrower. So that is point 2, track your spending. 3, keep your standard of living below what your earnings can accommodate. This point relates to the first point I made. Avoid acquiring income leaking assets. Keep your standard of living below what your earnings can accommodate. And that is one thing that has practically helped me as an individual. I always make sure that I spent below my earnings. And so if I am earning, let's say 5,000, I try to live on 3,000 or less so that I can save. As I speak to you now, I have a car, but tomorrow I'll be going to town. I'll park the car and take trotro just so I can save, because I'm moving alone. I'm not moving with the family. If I'm moving with the family, then the car becomes a necessity. But where I'm going somewhere, I'm not in a hurry and I can pick trotro. Why should I take a car from Nsawam to Accra? On average, I spend like 200 Ghana cedis whenever I move. That 200 Ghana, if I take trotro, I'll spend less than 40 Ghana cedis, save 160 Ghana cedis. So that money can be invested into something towards my future. Or even if I don't need it, I can give it to support a family member. I think that is a better way of spending the money than for me to be looking out for that personal convenience that can be avoided. In starting life, when you are not married, I don't see why you should go for a 2-bedroom self-contained, a 3-bedroom self-contained. That's how some of my friends started life. And as the years move by, they realize that it's not possible to sustain such kind of life. So they retrogress. So from a 3-bedroom self-contained, they move to a 2-bedroom, then to a chamber and hall, and then to a single room. That is not how you live life. Life has to be Please, can you hear me?
Yes, please, sir. We can hear.
Okay. So you should see life as progressive in all aspects of life, and your financial life has to be progressive. In comfort, you be progressing in life and not retrogressing. And you can only progress in terms of how comfortable your living environment is for yourself and for your family, if you're able to secure your financial future. So if you start life when you are alone with a 3-bedroom self-contained, if you're not careful, by the time your wife comes in, you would have moved to a chamber and hall self-contained. And by the time your children start coming, you would have to move to a single bedroom because your income cannot afford, even when you need it. So rather start with a single bedroom, you are alone, right? Then when you marry, maybe a chamber and hall self-contained, start saving such that by the time the children start coming, probably you can afford to move into a 3-bedroom or even have your own house at the time. But by that, you are able to at least put measures in place such that you don't retrogress, you don't fall back into a lower standard of living as the years go by. It is very important. Keep your standard of living below what your earnings can afford early in life, such that with time, you can build that financial muscle, you can build that financial foundation which can support you to lift your standard of living higher. 3, avoid borrowing to finance consumption or a lifestyle. Never borrow to finance consumption, right? I know some people who borrow to buy private cars. A private car is not an income generating asset. So if you must borrow, you must borrow to finance either a business that will generate returns or to acquire an income generating asset whose expected returns is higher than the interest that you'll be paying on the loan. That is the only way the loan can be said to be sustainable. So if you are borrowing at 10%, whatever assets you are acquiring, whatever business you are investing in, should not return anything less than 10%. The returns from the loan should be enough to service the loan, to retire the debt at maturity, and to take you to a higher pedestal in business or in your overall lifestyle. Never borrow to finance consumption. Don't borrow to rent a room. The last time I was there, a friend called me that I should give him 3,000 Ghana cedis to rent a room. And my question is, if your rent is due